Hello everyone, it's Maud here again, and welcome to your yin yoga class for the neck, the shoulders, and the trapezius, these areas in the upper body that usually feel tension, especially towards the end of the day, in the midday. And so consider this practice sort of a release in those areas. And as any yin yoga class goes, we know we're going to be holding poses for quite a while. So just make sure you have all the props, all the support that you need with you, blankets, anything thick so you feel supported. For this class, I'm going to need my blanket, the bolster, which can be a thick pillow, and then my yoga blocks. So please go ahead and grab those. Otherwise, we're going to start in this reclined position. So I want you guys to place your bolster sort of on top of something so that it can be reclined this way. There's a slanted positioning of the bolster. And then send your feet in front of you and start to glaze your lower back onto the bolster. And I want some space between the edge of the bolster and your lower back as well. So you're not really sort of pressing into it. There's definitely some space allowing there. And then just dropping your elbows down, opening the palms, and start to find some length in the back of the neck. Let's just take some deep inhales and some intentional exhales here to start. So let's inhale all the way in through the nose. When you exhale, sigh it out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. When you exhale, sigh it out. Last one through inhale in. And then exhale out. And leave your mouth open, move your jaw around. As you've probably heard me cue in my other classes, just imagine you're chewing an imaginary chewing gum. So you're chewing it, relaxes the jaw. And then come to your center. Could be that the lips are together and the teeth are parted behind it. And if this feels good to you already, you feel settled, you can start to maybe let the soles of the feet meet, coming into a reclined butterfly pose with the knees out. Now, just note that this is an upper body practice, and so if you just want to let the lower body go, feel free to just come back to that bent leg with the knees to the sky pose. Otherwise, this is an option. Or for some of you, you can straighten your legs and just feel more relaxed. If you are in butterfly pose, you can have the hands help the knees to come together. Otherwise, just get there. And then roll onto your right side. Roll onto the right side, but keep opening up the chest towards the ceiling so your left arm, your left shoulder can just dangle in the back. And you can just place your right hand on top of your left thigh. And gently roll all the way to the right side. Making sure that your right shoulder and your right arm are kind of pressed into that bolster. You can't see it from this angle in the camera. This is my left hand that you see. My right arm is behind the bolster. And place the right side of your head down. And instead of just dropping your head into the bolster, find some length in the neck first. Find some space in there before you drape your your head down. So your face and your knees are facing the same direction. You can always place a prop between the thighs to be more relaxed. So to feel even in the pelvis as well. Notice if there's any tension in the face, the jawline. And you're just going to hover over that bolster. If you have yoga blocks underneath it, go ahead and remove those. What we're doing is we're going to keep the bolster underneath our face, but we're going to lower down the bolster so that we have a little bit more space to go down on. And then you can lay the right side of your head again. Again, my right shoulder is behind me. This is my left arm that you can see. Letting my fingers go. And this could be plenty for you already, and you can definitely stay right here. Or you can also just remove the bolster out of the way, opening up this right shoulder behind you, draping the right side of the body down. So the knees and the head are facing the same direction. Now the right shoulder is behind you, feeling that stretch in front of the right side of the chest. Every exhale gets you in a little bit more surrendering place, surrendering state. Again, finding length in the back of the neck first. So make those adjustments. You may look static and frozen, but there's definitely a lot of stuff happening here. And the breath is always king, the breath is the leader. And so notice if any of these physical sensations that you feel are dictated by the breath. And spend the last few more breaths here. To pull out of this pose, slide your hands underneath your shoulders. Send your forehead to face down towards the mat and gently push yourselves up. And then you can pivot onto your yoga mat, or you can also just switch the props to the other side, which this is what I'm going to do. So have one higher prop or one higher block, one lower. I'm going to place my bolster right there. Again, I'm going to start with my legs bent. Drape my body over the prop. Find that centering pose first. We're not going to stay as long here for sure. And once you get this, start to roll onto your left side. And so the knees are facing the left side, but same thing. You're going to direct your chest towards the ceiling. And this left hand is not necessarily pressing your right thigh down too much. It's just there to kind of guide that leg, that knee. If you want to stagger the knees, that's okay too. So just open the chest to the ceiling. Maybe a little lower back sensation too with this twist. Just drop the right shoulder down, giving gravity a chance to open up the right side of the chest. ones that feels good to you. Roll all the way to your left side. Just make sure you place your left arm behind that bolster. And this time this is my right arm that you can see in front of me in the bolster, stacking the knees or whatever staggered knee position that you want. Fingers can be facing the ceiling or the palms are facing the ceiling, so I'm not tempted to grab a hold of something. So the left side of your face is going to be on the bolster. Finding length in the back of the neck, find those wiggles, and then get them out of the way, and then get the fidgets out of the way. The point of yin yoga is to cultivate this relaxed state, right? This more gentler state. But it doesn't mean that we stop moving or that we sleep. We still have these conscious decisions that we need to make in our poses. If our body's ready, should you really do this, all the way through? Should you max out? All these different things. So you still have sort of some consciousness and some decisions to make as you're here in these poses. You're not necessarily just tuning out. And then if you have some props underneath that bolster, that pillow, you can start to take them out of the way just to flatten that surface. You have a little bit more to reach down. And just make sure that that left shoulder is still behind you and that you're facing the same side that your knees are, which is your right side. I'm sorry, this is the left side. There you go. You can stay right here if this is plenty. Or like we did on the previous side, you can always slide the bolster away from you temporarily. And still on your left side, same thing but without the bolster. Lengthen the back of the neck, and maybe there's now more space in the upper body as it feels a little ringed out. Left shoulder is open to the left side. The left side of the face is down on the mat. These tensions that we feel in the upper body, and the traps and the neck, the shoulders, definitely manifest themselves sometimes as headaches, or maybe our jaw starts to hurt, or some other stuff that we feel could come from somewhere else, but it may be just in those spaces. And doing these practices right here is very good to relieve any tension and also to just de-stress. We know that stress does a lot of bad for the body. So we definitely don't want to hold on to it. To release from this pose, slide your hands underneath your shoulders and gently roll your neck and your forehead towards the mat. And then gently push yourselves up. Have a moment here to just sit, maybe with blanket underneath your bums, just to encourage a natural curvature of the spine. And as we sit right here, let's start to do some Neck rolls, dropping your ear towards your shoulder, lifting your head up, ear to the other shoulder, and then tucking your chin towards your chest. Maybe doing 2 or 3 circles in each direction. And you're still moving sort of sluggishly, just retaining that energy that we established. Please feel free to go the other direction whenever you're ready. Then rotate your neck towards your right shoulder and your left shoulder. One more time each side. Without turning the body, just letting the neck do its job. Coming to center, some free-form shoulder rolls. Just feels yummy. Interlace your fingers behind the head, poke your elbows out, let your thumbs rest towards your neck. Let's find an inhale here. And as we exhale, keeping the spine long, just lengthen the back of the neck. Feel this slight kind of pulling, gentle pull in the back of the neck, almost like your skin could grow a little bit longer. And then send your elbows towards each other. There's definitely some good tension there, some lengthening. And just breathe through that space. Please be gentle here. Inhale. And as you exhale, slowly lift the arms up. Bring your right hand inside your left elbow. Open up the shoulders. And if the right hand is grabbing the left elbow, then you drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. Notice if the breath is labored. Notice if the stretch is overdone. Just one more breath. Try not to overstretch the neck, just enough sensation. Inhale to center. This time, left hand's going to grab the right elbow, the inside of the right elbow, dropping this left shoulder down. And then drop your right ear towards your right shoulder, feeling this lengthening and release happening on the left side of the neck. You're just sliding down that imaginary wall. You're not curling in, so the spine is still long, and both sit bones are still grounded towards your prop. Remember, yin is a cool energy. It's a cooling down energy. And then slowly release. Let's get into a puppy pose. And so I'm going to just place blankets underneath my knees to be on the safe side. And then have this bolster in front of you because we're going to reach our arms out towards it. So place the bolster right here. Kind of within arm's reach. My knees are going to be cushioned by the blanket. So I want to get my hips to be right above my knees. And I don't want to just dump in my shoulders so that my sort of the bones, the top of the arm bones come out of my armpits. I don't want that. So I'm going to integrate a little bit. And so have my fingers dangle on the other side, dropping my forehead down. But notice I'm not just sinking into my shoulder joints. I'm having a little bit of lift here by strengthening my shoulder blade muscles, by engaging them rather. So that's not one place that I'm just dumping. I'm just putting all the weight in there. So you still breathe through this. Fingers are just draping the edge of the bolster. Keep breathing here. And then gradually needle your left arm underneath your right armpit. You can peel away from the prop if you want. Readjust the knees and then send the left side of your face, lengthening the left arm towards the right. Make any adjustments that you want with your prop. If the floor is too far for your head, definitely get a yoga block underneath the temples or the cheeks or the head. Or maybe just have a small pillow or whatever you have. As long as the neck feels like it's protected, doesn't feel strained or compressed. If you feel like there's more space in the body and you find that you have more space to go to the top of the mat, let it happen. It just means that there's something physical that's happening in the body and it's more allowing of that lengthening that you need. Take a couple more breaths here. Then slide your right hand in front of your face. And then gently release from the pose. You're ready in your all fours. So as you guys know, the deal, I love doing cat cows in these quadrupeds. So find a nice cat cow here, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze and the tailbone on the inhale. And rounding the spine. On the exhale, finding this cat pose. Fingers are still spread. But it's nice and sluggish and intentional, right? So keep this energy retained. Do not fight it, just allow it. And then gently find your puppy pose once again on this side, just to make sure we find a neutral place first before we find that twist, this time the right arm underneath the left. So take the time to get there, finding the hips stacked above the knees. Again, I'm not going to dump just in my shoulder joints. I'm going to do some integration, pushing the bolster away from me so that I can really dangle my arms. I dangle my fingers. There's a bit of squeezing of the shoulder blade muscles together happening behind me. That way I can allow my chest to just open. And then whenever you're ready, needle the right arm underneath the left armpit. I'm going to be facing away from you, so hope that's okay. Palms up on that right arm. When you turn your neck towards the left side, make sure that there is space in the back of the neck. This left shoulder blade right here, because your left arm is reaching towards the bolster. Allow a bit of strengthening happening there. Some engagement. Every time we lift our arms overhead, or in this case forward, we really want to recruit the muscles on the side of the ribs. So we don't leave it up to the entire shoulder joint to do that job. We're actually recruiting the bigger muscles to allow that lifting up overhead. Or in this case for us, we're lifting overhead, but we're really directing it forward. Again, if the body wants to slide forward because now there's more space, please allow that and honor that. And then gently slide the left hand in front of your face. Then use it to push yourselves up. If the cat-cow felt good, or if there's anything that you feel like doing while you're on your all fours, please do so. Swing the hips, maybe doing some shoulder rolls right here, since that is our kind of point of focus in this class. Take a couple of moments to honor whatever it is that you feel like you need to do right here and cater to that. And just slide the bolster away from you. Getting into our last yin pose called Twisted Roots pose. Twisted Roots pose, we kind of did it seated. And so if you want to interlace your fingers behind you, I always love it when I release my thumbs towards my chest. You poke your elbows to the sides, and you just sort of use this kind of position in the hands to find some length in the neck. And some teachers call this the sunny day, a day at the beach pose, which I definitely do not disagree. And so just find a nice sort of opening in this pose, in the chest. And I find this opportunity, since my thumbs are already underneath my neck, to give myself a little bit of massage. And so do it for you if that feels good to you. You can always moan and groan wherever you are. This feels yummy to me. And then you can make this Twisted Roots pose as your last pose. Or some of you may want to go into the traditional Shavasana, which means that your hands are on either side of the hips and your feet are just far apart, placing something underneath the knees to relieve the lower back if that's what you want. For me, I'm going to stay here in this Twisted Roots pose because I really like this pose. I like the sensation. I also like the feeling of sort of empowerment that it brings to me somehow. So find that in your practice and do whatever feels good to you. Once you've decided your final resting pose, let's inhale through the nose. Cleansing breath out through the mouth. One more time, inhale. Let's shush it out. Shavasana. Last pose. If you're in Twisted Roots pose, gently release the hands. Send some energy into your fingers and toes, maybe your limbs, your extremities, and starting to introduce some movements in the body. Gently bend the legs, roll onto a side, and push yourselves up to sit. We're going to close our practice with our shins crossed, hands to the chest. Bow down towards your hands. You can open your eyes and lift your head up. And I thank you so much for being a part of this 30-minute class. I hope your upper body feels wonderful, your neck, your shoulders. And I hope you guys check out my other classes as well on my website. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Namaste from me to you. Bye for now. Thanks.